Christmas to me is always a promise of hope, joy, and love. Together with the Jesuit Communications and Arete of the Ateneo de Manila University, I wish to invite you to celebrate Christmas with us in a very special concert entitled The Third Noel, Light Up the World, spreading hope in solidarity with all the nations. The show will be streamed on December 11, 7:30 in the evening on the Facebook pages of the Jesuit Communications, Radio Katipunan, Arete, and other social media partners. May the light of Christmas spirit shine forth from within our hearts.
Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay Atenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugo, todo sa kayod, tulong at tulong. Lipad na Blue Eagle, galing hiting at tigil, blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay Atenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugo, todo sa kayod, tulong at tulong. Lipad na
typhoons and the student-led strike, I've been trying to reach out to beneficiaries and connecting them to people who are willing to help out for the former, and doing my part in keeping myself informed as well as engaged in dialogue for the latter. I just hope that those who need help are being attended to, while those who want to voice out their thoughts and feelings are given the opportunity to do so. So yeah, personally, I believe that it all boils down to practicing empathy and mindful action as much as we can. So yeah, that's it from me.
Yeah, I think
thank you
pretty
so much
similar. Yeah, pretty similar to George. I think the past 2 weeks have sort of been like a roller coaster of events for us now. And I think, like, on a personal note, it's just been trying to reflect also and sort of understand the ways in which I usually engage and the ways in which my organization and people around me engage, and from that understand how we're called to engage appropriately to these sorts of events. So there's a lot that's happening talaga, especially with youth orgs, and I guess we can talk about it a bit later. But on a personal note, I also spent the academic break sort of just trying to recenter and get back into things that small pockets of joy, I guess. So I picked up origami folding again. So that's like a small thing for me. That helps me de-stress a little, even until now.
For me, well, yeah, similar to what Trisha and what Jordan have been saying, we've just really been trying to be very proactive with everything that's been happening. You know, it's very important to be aware and to be engaged with everything. But also, like, on a more personal note, lots of things have been happening also with, like, academics. Like, all of the requirements and the deadlines are being moved and shifted. And it's a lot of adjusting, but it's really great to have conversations like this with friends, with other people, with other Ateneans, just to lift the spirits up.
Yeah, I super agree, San. I feel that with all the uncertainty that's been happening the past few weeks, it's super important to, like, stay connected to your constants, your real ones. Like, I think that's something that I've personally been catching up with, like, just trying to ground myself with people who, you know, have been there, like the friendships we've made, and like when we were all back in school, and even the new ones that we've made online. Like, that really makes us find our purpose talaga and continue, like, living the life that we are called to live.
Yeah, even thanks so much, guys. Parang actually bouncing off of what Jordan said, over the past few weeks, it's really been nice to see all of the orgs with their initiatives, especially in light of all that's been happening recently. And it's really inspiring to see, you know, orgs really take up action and really finding ways to be more of service during times like this. And ayun, same on a personal note, parang it's nice that everyone's been, parang we've been able to get, you know, some sort of a breather after, you know, a while, few months. And given that we're coming back into the whole academic groove, we are kind of settling in a little bit, diba? So thank you guys for sharing those with us now. And I guess now to kind of move on to more of the meat of our discussion today, let's focus a bit more on your org, so Ateneo Code as an organization, diba? So I guess anyone could speak, whoever wants to go for it, and maybe just tell us a bit about, you know, your org, what is it you guys advocate for, who are some sectors that you guys work with on a regular basis.
I guess just to start us off with that, on paper, Code's advocacy is youth empowerment, and it sounds like big words. That's what you usually, like, even within the org, like, big words to try and, like, parse through and figure out. But at the heart of it, it's really believing in youth potential to make change happen. And I think, you know, with this program, of course, I think you and our viewers are, like, really familiar with the kinds of efforts and the kinds of change that different youth orgs can make, even if they're limited in terms of reach, or even if they're limited in terms of access to material things like money and sponsorships and whatnot. There's so much that just the desire to be able to help people and make positive change can really do. And so for Code, what we try to do is encourage these youth people, these youth members, these youth orgs to maximize that potential. Na parang kahit na limited sila in certain ways, with what they have and the things that they can control in their organization, we can work with them so that they can maximize those things and really be able to connect with these communities that they want to connect to, and in those little communities that we help, we're able to eventually impact something larger, like the nation, or if we're dreaming big, the world, diba? And I think the other favorite thing that we say siguro in Code is our advocacy is any youth org's advocacy. Once you start working with a youth org, you start to love their advocacy too. You know, I have worked with organizations that I never thought I would be engaged with marine life, for example. But because you listen to them and you listen to their passions, parang you start to get infected and you start to learn things and incorporate things in your own life that you can take away from their organization. So it's a two-way kind of thing. Us as coders, we also learn how to love their advocacies with them. So yeah, I think in a nutshell, dami ko sinabi pala. Yeah.
Ayan, you know, I really couldn't agree more, Trisha. I really feel like there's so much untapped potential within the youth, and we are so thankful that there are orgs like yours that want to be able to maximize their potential. But with that naman, could you enlighten us on your org's usual activities and projects?
Yeah, well, just from that, like internally, we try as much as possible to prepare everything beforehand. So like all orgs naman, we have like COA-M and M to really plan out our efforts in the year, like the mid-year. But we really value, we have a growth mindset. That's something that we like to say around because we have different learning opportunities as well. Of course, we are also like youth, like we're organization development consultants. So we really have to train our people, our members with like APT for our newbies. That's like the newbie training, accelerator pool training. Sorry, kind of wordy. ACT for like our already made our oldie consultants to grow even more and discover new things. Because apart from that side too, we also try to. We're also kind of like a family too. So we have, of course, our HR efforts with the different themed weeks, like Newbie Week or Tambay Week, where we just get to know each other and get to bond like as other organizations to do and like regular families do. But of course, above it all, like we really want to make sure that everyone in Code is doing well and that everybody is really informed about anything happening internally or externally. We really like to check up on our members with like alignment efforts and constituency checks and really just try to see what we can do for our members as well so that we can best help serve the sector too.
That's true yan. Parang when you said constituency check, parang medyo naalala ko yung of the past month. I think very parang paulit-ulit na sa ating lahat yan. But I guess
certainly had a lot of that.
Yeah, we had a lot of constituency checks. Pero it's actually good kasi parang it's something new for us this year, especially for a lot of orgs na finding ways to really be more present sa mga members nila na, you know, it's not just in terms of involvement sa mga initiatives and the projects, but really having that organization's role as a home for a lot of our students, you know, especially in a time like this. So I guess coming from yung mga projects and your usual activities, parang just a curious question, parang right now, do you guys have any current project or any projects soon that you maybe want to promote to any of your viewers watching right now?
Okay, so hello viewers. Hi everybody. So Nick's talked a lot about like the internal things that we do in Code to have like the family vibe and like to train our members and everything. But the recent projects that we have, or the usual projects that we have for like outside Code, for externally, we have engagements with youth orgs inside Ateneo and outside Ateneo. So it's been really great to work with all of these different kinds of organizations, and we really are with them step by step throughout the whole engagement process. So basically, people come to us, orgs come to us if they have any concerns, and not just problems, like if they have concerns where they want to elevate their org more, or they're trying to find out the best system to use for them to be most efficient and stuff. So that's why orgs come to us, and then we really are with them step by step throughout the whole process in getting to know their organization more, studying their org, diagnosing their org, and trying to come up with interventions together. And that's really like the core of what Code is. Like be side by side with our clients and to make sure that we empower them to reach their potential. We always say that we don't provide the answers in our engagements. Rather, we help other orgs find it within themselves. So that's the core of what we do, engagements. And we also have other external efforts. As Trisha said, we practice organization development. So we'd like to spread this around, of course, like through webinars, through OD seminars. Actually, our flagship project is called Exchange, and it's a yearly thing. I think some Ateneo orgs are already familiar with it, but we have that coming up next year. So if you guys want to watch out for it, we also have a webinar coming up for student leaders, and we really just want to be able to, especially in this online setting, we really just want to be able to bring the youth together and to collaborate and to just find ways to help serve the nation better together.
Yeah, okay. So thank you so much for that, Kristen. So, guys, if you want to join yung mga projects ni Code, just watch out for that. So now that we know more about your org, maybe we can focus a little bit more about your individual journeys naman as members. So could you guys tell us what made you decide to join the org in the first place? It's really interesting how people have very different answers talaga to this question. So maybe we can start with Jordan.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you for the question. I applied for Code again in my sophomore year, actually, because I tried to become a part of the organization my first year. So it's actually a screening process. There's actually a screening process to be transparent to everybody. But yeah, because I got the chance to hear the stories of my batchmates about how immersive and fulfilling it was to interact with other youth-led organizations alongside fellow Ateneans even. It really warmed my heart to know that it's possible and that it is attainable for anybody, and especially for somebody like me. So yeah, additionally, the concept of organization development even was a practice that was very intriguing, and I feel that it was very essential also for the organization with how it panned out and its plans for driving the advocacy forward.
Yeah, so maybe we can go with Trisha next.
Sorry, yes. For me, I think it was, one, I was a Code baby. We have some Code kids who, in high school, they had engagements with Code. So I was one of those kids. And second, because in high school, I was one of those kids who needed someone to believe in me. And I had, upperclassmen who did eventually become coders also believe in me and help me, become more confident in myself and put myself out there. So when I got to Ateneo, I knew that despite the screening process that George mentioned earlier, I knew that I wanted to apply for Code because primarily really for me because of the advocacy. And once you experience someone believing in you and that helping you reach your potential, it's just natural that you want to be able to do that for other people too. So that was my origin story. Sorry.
Nice origin story, Trisha. Well, I had something similar also. I was also a Code baby. I've never heard that before, but yeah, I was a Code baby, I guess. I encountered Code when I was in second year high school through our then flagship project, one of the biggest projects that we had at the time, called OD on OD. So it was in the grade school covered courts, and there were 150 student leaders from in high school, and all of these coders being crazy facilitators and everything. And from that moment, and from that whole it was a transformational leadership seminar. Coming in as a small little 15-year-old, I was wow, the power the youth has and to make a change, and the opportunity that we have to empower the youth, it's just really great. It's really just a cycle of empowerment. That's why I wanted to join Code. Yeah.
I think mine's kind of different because I applied in my fresh year without really knowing what code really was. Like there are a lot of jokes like, oh, code's a coding org, and like it's really funny. Like I don't know, you just don't really know. But then it was something that my mutual friends were very interested in, so I wanted to see what it was like. And going through the application process, that's where I kind of fell in love with it also, even without being in code. Like I learned so much about the advocacy with youth empowerment and organization development, and that was something that was so new. Like imagine as a freshie, like you don't really see that much in like high school. It's like in high school it's like arts and stuff like that or whatever. That was how it was like for me. So something so refreshing and something so new was so interesting to me, and I was so lucky to have been able to get accepted in my freshman year, because it really is something that really made my college life so much better. I love code. Yay!
Parang super nice to hear all your stories na, some of you guys parang high school pa lang or very early on na experience mo talaga yung org, and then eventually that really made you guys parang go for it when you got to college. And siguro bouncing off of what Nick said a while ago na parang it was through the application process that you really got to fall in love with or really know more about the process of youth empowerment and everything that you guys and the org does, really advocate for that. Pero I guess for Trisha, Jordan, and Kirsten, parang kasi one thing I've also experienced myself as a freshie is that you join 5 or 10 orgs during rec week, and you don't know which orgs to parang go for, parang pa-project ka dyan and by initiative ka dito, and this is how you really learn more about orgs. Pero I guess for you guys, parang was there a particular moment in your code journey that made you decide na, okay, parang okay to, I'd love to stay in code for the rest of my college life? And I guess for
This is the org for me, ganon.
And I guess for the four of you, parang, I want to be in a leadership position in this org, my senior year or my junior year, for example. Ayun, what was that moment, if anything, for you guys?
Well, for me, I don't think it was necessarily one moment, but if I were to pinpoint one factor, it would be the sector for sure. The interesting part about Ateneo Code is that its members are part of the sector as well, the sector that we serve. So having been able to go through shared experiences with coders and clients alike, my love for the advocacy definitely deepened throughout the years. And that's what led me to, file for my candidacy to become this year's coordinating head. And luckily, I got it. So yeah.
Thank you, Jordan. Go lang, Trisha.
I think in terms of what made me stay, I would agree that it's not one specific moment, but I think like coming from what Kirsten was talking about earlier, it's really engagement experiences, and they're all unique. So I wouldn't like pinpoint a specific engagement or a specific client, but I think it's that continuous like discovery of something new, a new advocacy, a new passion, meeting more and more people who would happily dedicate like 4 years of their college life ganyan, to this one cause that they really believe in. That's something that really will renew like the reasons why I feel like not just me but maybe a lot of coders would also stay in code. It's a very magical experience. I think it's one way that you can put it. And I'm sure for like a very sector-based orgs, they would say the same thing. It's a very magical, unique experience that will keep you there. I think in terms of pursuing a position, I work in a department that's very internal, or that's very related to the internal workings and isn't as directly like involved, I suppose, with the sector or with the advocacy. So, growing up in this department throughout the years, I really saw its value. And I really saw how we have to be able to link the things that we do internally in our organizations to the kind of impact that we want to make externally. And to remember that what drives us wanting to do good in our internal processes is because we have, at least for us, we have a sector to serve outside. And I wanted to help be able to drive that home. So it's a work in progress, obviously, throughout the school year. But yeah.
If Jordan and Trisha didn't have a specific moment, where they were like, okay, I'm gonna drop everything, I'm gonna go for code and stuff. I did because for me, I never really got over the I want to experience so many things in college, yung mga ganon. So I was like, okay, in my senior year, I want to do everything na. I want to do everything. But so I never thought that I would run for external relations ed. But there was this moment. It was actually just in March, like the start of the quarantine, when I just saw all of the youth orgs coming up and everything, and people being discouraged to start their own things, people being discouraged to speak up, and people who didn't know that they had a voice that they could use. I was just, those people were on my mind the whole time, and I was like, it really reminded me of Code's advocacy and how we could really do something about all of that. And I guess I was just so passionate about it. And the question wasn't so much of why should I even run in the first place, but it was how can I not? So, yeah.
Ayun. So, I really love hearing about the reasons why people stay in orgs. Because even me, myself, as a sophomore right now, I'm in a lot of orgs, and each one talaga, there's a reason why you stay. Because syempre, you can't, you're not usually a senior with 10 orgs because it's very difficult talaga and you're going to feel bad syempre if you're inactive in an org. So we really have our own reasons that we get at one point as to why we stay. But now at this point, let's look ahead naman. So especially with all the challenges that have been brought to us by this situation, as we all know, org life is definitely facing some innovations and changes in order to adapt to the situation we're in this year. So I'm pretty sure this is no different for your org. Can you tell us naman with that, what kind of challenges you guys are facing this year, and maybe a bit on how you're planning to address these challenges?
Right. So I think the main overarching challenge is definitely the shift to the online setting as of the moment for the entire school year. And we were faced with the sub-challenges, right? First, how to engage with our members, then having to iterate our efforts, then finally being consistent in terms of the organization's presence and transparency throughout the year. So our action plan essentially was alongside the Code Super 7 or the other department heads and of course the frontliners, was to first level off with all the members and to check in on how they're all doing, because of course there may be some people that wanted to take a step back, there are others that wanted to vent out or use their frustrations on org work, and yeah, that really helped us align better. Then we reassessed our plans for the year by measuring the feasibility of how everything may pan out and making sure that we laid out all the contingencies as well for any unforeseen circumstances. Then lastly, we just made sure to be transparent and establish the feedback system for everybody to stay connected and to be comfortable with being open about their personal disposition. So yeah.
Ayun. So actually it's really nice to hear about that before starting the year. Parang you talk to your members first and foremost, really check up on them and really set expectations as to how they want to experience the org this year, and maybe coming from there, mapping out all of your initiatives and projects for the year, diba? So I guess with that, parang we've actually the end of this segment for Code, and parang I think it was really nice to hear a lot of your stories about the advocacy talaga. Parang actually I think it's very timely right now. I think it was mentioned a while ago, particularly in the time that we have right now. And dami mga youth orgs have been starting to be more active, be more present, and it's really nice that there are orgs like Ateneo Code who really find ways to not just learn from them, but also find ways to really help them be better, help them deliver more lasting impact sa mga advocacies that they really have, diba? So I guess with that, we'd like to thank our guests from Ateneo Code. We're really rooting for you guys to continue to create impact within and outside the Ateneo community, and super exciting to hear about your planned project for the year, and we're definitely going to be looking out for those, diba? So I guess with that, we'll say goodbye to them for now. We'll call them back later because we'll be having a short game with you guys later before we wrap up. So we'll see you guys later.
See you guys.
Bye guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nina and
See you
Enzo.
guys later.
Thank you.
Ayan.
So now that we have heard all about Ateneo Code, let's move on to our next set of guests from SBC's featured organization of the week. So, and so during these turbulent times, we think of those who are not granted the same privilege as we are, those in communities besides our own, and those who we should protect and stand with in order to build a better nation for all. So, naman, we're all about that nation building. So, our next guest advocates for sustainable change in order to uphold and promote the rights of children in rural communities. So with that, please welcome our guests from SBC's Barefoot Philippines, Tony, Sofi, Andrea, and Keagan. Hi guys!
Hi guys! Hello. Ayan. So welcome
Hi!
Welcome to the show. Welcome to Kwentuhang MVP. Welcome to our virtual MVP setting. Sana siguro nasa landing tayo at this point, but we're here in this Zoom call. So I guess before we start, baka we can also do a round of names just to introduce yourselves. Maybe you guys want to say hi to one of your org mates. So maybe just your name, year and course, and your position in the org. So, go lang, Tony, if you want to start.
All right. Hi guys. I'm Tony Ramos. I'm from 4BS Psych, and I'm the President of Barefoot Philippines.
Does anyone want to come next? Sofi, maybe you want to introduce yourself next.
Hi, I'm Keagan. I'm from 3BS Management Honors, and I'm a Barefoot Goodwill Ambassador.
Hi everyone, I'm Sofi. I'm a junior taking up management, and I'm an AVP for Finance.
Yon. So thank you so much for introducing yourself, guys. We're really excited to have you on the show. So with that naman, we wanted to ask first, kamusta naman kayo, guys? How have you been? How's the second quarter going? I know we just got back from an academic break, but then how are your lives naman right now?
Well, for me personally, I think the last few weeks has been a little hectic. Like I think everyone can agree. They mentioned it earlier, and
sure.
It's more of trying to find like stability, like with everything that's been happening, like getting my rhythm back. Like that's really what I was going for, at least for me, like these past few days.
I think I would agree also. Like a lot has been happening, but it's really nice to see people come together and really like check up on people, especially during these times. Like aside from the typhoons, like the pandemic also, and how like everyone's really just supporting one another, especially in school and in organizations.
Yeah, I also agree with Tony and Andrea. Past few weeks have been stressful. Actually, the past few months, but then we all we have to do now is just to keep going forward. So yeah.
Yeah, same as everyone. I think we're all in the same boat. But one thing I realized is that I'm slowly becoming a robot because I spend so much time on technology. So one thing I learned about was downtime. So that has helped me to like devote more time to like mentally healthy activities like planting or biking, like stuff we would not have done during normal circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same. Parang again, like what was talked about a while ago. We're kind of getting back in the groove of the whole academics, really rounding out the semester, just a few more requirements here and there. But it's also nice that in organizations, parang we're still able to give those spaces, not just for our members, but also for ourselves to just relax, unwind, and really feel the community that we have in the organization, diba? So I guess moving forward a bit, we can put the spotlight a bit on Barefoot Philippines, your organization. So I guess anyone could answer. So maybe tell us a bit about your org, the main sector that you guys work with, and what is it that you guys really advocate for through your projects?
All right, I've actually practiced this spiel ever since I was in my freshman year, but good practice. So Barefoot aims to provide sustainable and contextualized assistance to children in rural communities. And when you kind of break that down, sustainable means it's good for like the long run, and contextualized means there's a story behind it, and you know what you're doing for certain communities. And then if you're talking about our specific sector, so currently our partner community is Katutubo Village in Pampanga. And yeah, like right now, obviously it's a little hectic. We can't visit there physically and everything. And, I think we've been doing our part to sort of still try to help and engage them on our end. With the recent typhoon, it was like, this is like a general update, I guess, for everyone as well. It was fortunate on their end and on ours that they weren't affected as much. So actually, when we asked them like if they needed anything, contextualized as such, they were just like, we think you guys should help others. And then that, when you hear that from your own like sector, that's something that's very empowering on both ends, right? So yeah.
Yun. So thank you so much for that, Tony. As a barefooter myself, this is something that I also actually got to hear a lot na. And it really makes me happy to see that our partner community is also willing to help other people. So now with that, we all know barefoot for the hashtag Champions for Children. But now what exactly does this mean to the org as well as yourselves?
I guess to be a champion for children, it actually revolves around our newly introduced org values, and we actually have 3. And to be a champion for children is actually to promote inclusivity. So this is like the fact that we envision a nation for equal opportunities for all Filipino children so that they can grow and flourish. And we also stand as Barefoot, we stand as a bridge to provide these children a platform to feel like respected, valued, and heard.
To add to that, as champions for children, we also empower the children, so we help them realize their own worth and potential. And also, empowerment also means that there is engagement, there's participation. And so it's not just us talking to them, it's also them talking to us and us giving or amplifying their voices to everyone.
Another one of our core values would have to be humility. So as stated earlier, we are one with our sector. So we walk with Filipino children in rural communities, and we don't just go there. We also try our best to build meaningful and deep relationships with our sector, and which is the heart and soul of Barefoot. Soul of Barefoot. So yeah, we go to the community and get to know them, get to know the stories of the nanays and tatays, get to know about their culture, learn from them, and be inspired by them.
Yeah, it's really nice to hear about the hashtag, as well as the values that really prop it up. So maybe going into your projects and going into your usual activities for the year, but how does this hashtag Champions for Children, manifest or show itself sa mga projects?
Yeah, I think just to start now, part of it is also, it really depends on which department you're talking about. There are different, projects and manifestations of how you can be a champion for children. So the one I'm going to be talking about is more of, I think in terms of our advocacy, there's a lot more focus in regards to community engagements. And that was the peak, Barefoot experience on its own. And then since we can't do that anymore physically this year, we've had to make alternative community engagement workshops. And one of the main projects is actually storybook creation and making, and then that's what we're focusing on in the workshops. So yeah.
Ayan, actually, my CE was actually the storybook one, and I really enjoyed getting to kind of do the illustrations and know that it's going to go to the partner communities. Because syempre, we took a lot of values from Barefoot as well as the communities when creating the storybooks. So yun, but with that naman, is there any recent project that you would want to promote to our viewers that you're currently having right now?
Yeah, so right now, the Art to Auction, Barefoot's very first Art to Auction is going on. It's been going on since November 29 to December 5. So it's basically an art auction featuring the works of local artists, where we raise funds for those affected by the Typhoon Ulysses. So it's been a brainchild between recognizing that there's so much creative talent, not just within Barefoot, but also outside our Barefoot communities. And so we wanted to find a way to also further Barefoot advocacy. So we've been doing this through the theme of the artworks, which is on children's rights. And this is not only open to Barefooters, but not even to the LS community alone, but even to the outsiders. So initially, as Tony mentioned a while ago, this was originally supposed to help our partner community, Katutuba Village, but since they said that they're doing fine themselves and they want us to redirect our efforts to those affected by Typhoon Ulysses. So they've been donating their own kamote and banana and their own harvest. So yeah. So surprisingly, it's funny because like most of our bidders are titos and titas of Manila, so not just students.
Ayan. So I guess for our viewers, again, mga titos and titas of Manila na dyan, or even people who'd like to really get their hands on, art from our local artists and being able also to respond to the victims of typhoon and the contribute. You guys can catch Barefoot's auction. Where can they find the project? Where can they look for the artwork?
So they can find us in the official Barefoot Philippines Facebook page, and the bidding goes through there.
Yeah. So if you guys want to take a look at the artwork, if you guys want to make a bid, you guys could hop over to Barefoot Philippines FB page to support their project. So ayun, thank you guys so much. We hope that the project becomes really successful and really finding ways to help yung mga partner communities and even the typhoon victims. So I guess with that, I guess we could maybe go deeper into you guys as individual members of Barefoot. Really get to know your stories, how you got into Barefoot, and what really made you stay after all these years. So I guess again, maybe could you guys maybe run us through what made you join Barefoot? Maybe when you guys first joined, parang was there a particular moment, was there a particular thing or a particular project that attracted you to the org, and how was that experience of finding and eventually joining Barefoot like for you guys?
Yeah, so I'll just go. But yeah, I actually really like this question because like it always comes up for some reason. One of the things that I found really cool was even before I went to Ateneo, like even before I entered college, the older brother of one of my closest friends was an officer. Like I think he was one of the officers in Barefoot's like first and second year. And then when I went to Ateneo to do the process and everything, you have to pay for the application fee and all. And I was going through there. He was there because me and my close friend we went there together. So his brother was there, and then his brother gave me like the full spiel and everything. And then here I was, like I'm a senior in high school, and I was just like, okay, like whatever, man. And then like it didn't really stick. In other words, it didn't really stick. But there was part of the spiel which kind of got me, which was that sustainable and contextualized aspect of the organization. It's not just one dole outs, whatever. it's these contextualized things. It's these important facts that are really researched, and then that kind of stuck with me. It was in the back of my mind. So when I saw Barefoot during Rec Week in my freshman year, I signed up and I got in, and now I'm here.
I think for me, like my experience is sort of similar to Tony, but also different. Right before I entered college, I had this friend who was also a Barefoot officer, and he was like convincing me to join. And as a Comtech student, I wasn't really aware of orgs in general, but I was focusing on like the business clustered orgs because I thought that these were like the main orgs I had to join. But then I realized that there were also other orgs, like sector-based ones, like Barefoot, and I was like, okay, I'll just give it a shot, even though I wouldn't know what to expect completely. But with that, like I didn't know that this was the org that I would actually serve in and actually take a leadership position in.
For me naman, when I was a freshie, I was just going through Rec Week and like all the different orgs that I wanted to join. But then what made me go to Barefoot really was when I learned of the partner community. And so Katutuba Village is in Pampanga, and that's where I am right now. It's where I grew up. And so it felt very personal to me that I'm helping people from my home. So that's what really made me go to Barefoot. And what made me stay was how much heart there was in the org. Like everyone, and most especially the advocacy, has such a strong and powerful message and heart na it just makes you want to be part of it because it seems like you're part of something bigger.
So the reason why I joined Barefoot was because when I joined Barefoot, it was still unaccredited, so it was still Alliance org. And coming from a small school, I was more comfortable with that kind of environment, like small communities, and I saw the benefits of a small, tight-knit community. Also, it was the fact that Barefoot protects the rights of Indigenous peoples, which is there's something so special about that community. They're so powerful and they're so hopeful, especially during these times. It was also Barefoot projects such as their CEs, brand collabs with Do, Standby Week, Y Week, and all the other CRNE events that made me want to stay. And most importantly, it was the leadership experience that Barefoot brought out within me, and how I see all my other Barefooters growing as well. What I like about it is that even when running for a position, they're open to people who are willing to learn and willing to grow. You don't really need to have the best experience, best background, but then Barefoot really molds the leaders within us.
Yeah, now, I really love hearing people's answer to these questions because the reason why we join really is very different from why we stay. And I really love getting to hear also that you guys share the same sentiment. So at this point naman, we can look ahead, especially with all the challenges brought to us by the different circumstances. As we all know, this year is really a very interesting one because it's not the usual one that we usually have. So I'm pretty sure this is no different for your org. So with that, could you tell us what kind of challenges is Barefoot facing this year? And maybe also, how are you guys addressing these challenges?
So one of the main challenges we're having this year would be the no CE experience. We realized that a lot of the reasons why people wanted to join Barefoot was really to experience our sector and to make friends with our community. So how we're trying to solve this is through the alternative CEs, which involves ways to build more on our membership base. So this involves, as Tony mentioned a while ago, the storybook making, the face mask making, and other ways.
Another challenge that we face is member engagement. Of course, when you're an organization, you want to bond with your fellow members. And I'm also an IC head, which means I mentor a family in the org for new members. And when you're a family, you just want to be around your family then. So that was a challenge. But then what we did to help solve that was to keep on inviting them to engage with us through different projects and different groups or Discord channels. And so we just shifted everything to an online platform.
And bouncing off that, when Keagan mentioned the online platform, of course, just like code, the online platform is also something we are adjusting to, but it's honestly so amazing seeing so many people continue to step up into the unknown waters, and knowing that we do this together as an org and we know that we're doing it for other people also really, I guess, just makes me personally very happy to see that people are still continuing serving the organization and serving our partner communities.
Yeah, actually, same. Parang it's really nice to hear. It's really nice to hear your stories about what kinds of challenges you guys are facing this year, and parang what I could really think about that is parang no matter how you guys perform yung advocacy or no matter what kinds of projects you have in a year, parang what's really the most important is it's still something you guys do together as an organization. So parang being part of something bigger than yourself, and having that community that you could really help out, and that advocacy that you guys could really fight for, diba? So siguro given that context, parang I'm sure marami din tayong mga viewers who kind of have the same advocacy as you guys, who kind of have the same passions as you guys in terms of fighting for your advocacy, diba? So parang given that, besides yung mga projects that you guys mentioned a while ago, are there ways na regular students, non-barefooters, or even our non-Ateneo viewers watching right now, are there ways na they can help Barefoot Philippines in advancing your advocacy?
Yeah, actually, there's a number of ways. One of the things that's really unique, but at the same time kind of general, with Barefoot in general, is that we're pushing for that idea of sustainable and contextualized assistance. And besides the projects, Enzo mentioned it a while ago already. yung art auction, diba? Or we also have a donation drive actually active right now. Like there's so many ways. Like as long as you take that extra step to like try to engage your community better, and you know what you're doing, like you actually did your research, you put some background into it, you're furthering the advocacy, even if you're not directly related to Barefoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and apart from
go
the
on.
usual, sorry.
Go on.
Yeah, apart from the usual like cliche sharing of posts, taking part of our fundraisers, I think because Barefoot advocates for being champions of children, so I think you can take part in our advocacy by going back to your childlike wonder, to your childlike curiosity, energy, and invigoration, and excitement towards life, and going beyond their own comfort zones, and inspiring the leader among other children as well.
Ayan. So, thank you guys so much for that. Na parang, ayun, so you guys heard it na from Barefoot na, you may not be a Barefoot or you may not be part of your org, pero as long as you have really that passion for these communities and passion for really fighting for that advocacy, parang there's really a lot of ways na you could be part of their particular advocacy. Diba? So, with that, we'd like to thank our guests from Barefoot. Ayun, parang we're really excited also for your projects for the year. Parang very interesting yung alternative community engagements that you guys are planning and really have in store. And really thankful for the service that you guys are providing para sa mga communities nyo and for all the sectors that you guys are working with. Diba? So yun, I guess with that, we could kind of wrap up this episode na parang it was really an inspiring episode na really seeing these two sector-based orgs and the communities that they work with and the advocacies that they really put to heart, and in spite of the times that we've been having, not just in the past few weeks now, but even this entire year, parang there's really a lot of these organizations that really make and give us hope for the youth and for these groups in terms of helping and serving their sectors. Diba, Nina?
Yeah, I super agree with that, Enzo. And syempre, before we wrap up our show today, we have a little game for the guests. So maybe we call on back our friends from Code to join us for a little game before we wrap things up. Ayan. Hello. Ayan, they're back. Yeah, so all you guys need to do is answer a few questions to the first thing that comes into your head. So it's medyo fast talk siya. So yan, Enzo.
Yeah, I'm a take. Actually, one. I have a couple of questions. Diba? So, just answer it with one word real quick. So, ayan, just one word to describe your organization. So, anyone can start.
Empathetic.
Sustainable.
Passionate.
Collaborative.
Family.
Home.
Inclusive.
Empowering.
Yan. So I think that's everyone. Now, the next question is actually one of my favorite questions. What is the most fulfilling thing about being in your org?
Helping the sector.
Nation building.
Impact.
The people.
Supporting one another.
Turning over our goods to beneficiaries.
Our partner community.
I think again that's everyone. So at this point, any shout outs that you guys want to have, any people you guys want to greet, mga orgmates na bago sa batiin. So ayun, go lang. Take this time to greet whoever you want to say hi. Go lang, guys.
Don't be shy.
Yan, alam ko marami nagpapa-shoutout sa inyo. So, ayan, go lang.
Sa comment section.
Can I?
Yeah, go.
Shout out to my best friend, Angel. Hello.
Can I shout out also?
Go lang.
Go lang.
Shoutout to the pa-auction core team, Ariana, Theo, Sweetie, Dom, Pochi, El, Elisa, Theo. We're only content lang. Hi guys.
I also want to shout out my department. Hi, Fad, and hi to my lead of deputies, Marge, Matt, and Marty. Hello.
Hi everybody watching, all my fans, joke lang. Hi coders, hi all of the youth who are watching, all of the youth orgs. Message us if you need anything.
Shout out to Barefooters, EB, and my Berkado Fub for all the support that we've been receiving these last few weeks.
Same as everyone. Hello to my department. Hi, LCLs. Mga nagpapa-special mention dyan. Ito na yung special mention nyo.
Also, I just want to shout out to all the coders, my anaks, my HR team. Hello, I love you all, my ments. And shout out to Exchange core team. Everybody should go to Exchange. I highly suggest it for the youth.
Yeah, sorry, pahabol lang. Pero yeah, shout out to the S7, to the other department heads and code. Thank you so much for your hard work. Yeah.
Ayun, so thank you so much for that, Code and Barefoot. And thank you so much for tuning into Kwentuhang MVP. So ayan, you can catch us again next week as we welcome more orgs from the sector-based cluster. Now, ano kayang orgs yon? Well, you're going to find out next week. So once again, I am Nina from 2AV Communications.
And I'm Endo from 4BS MVP. And this has been
Kwentuhang
MVP.
Kwentuhang MVP. Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.